here. Audre was one of my best girlfriends in all the world, and it actually was pretty hard to come here tonight. I came for two reasons. One, the undying wonderfulness of Lisbet, and two, because I decided that in my personal, small, alone grief, that what I could do is I could bring that here. And that when we put them all together, that's what makes community. Really, that's what I'm bringing, just mine. My grief, my loss, my personal one, and my happiness that my girlfriend, my sister, has had, is on her lovely next journey. I'd like to open tonight with one of her favorite songs. By the waters of Babylon, where we sat down, and where we wept when we remembered Zion, whether we get carried us away, captivity requires from us a song. How can we sing our glorious song in a strange land? Oh, let the words of our mouths and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable in thy sight, oh Yah.
My name is Weisinger, and in 1987 I met Audre, and we became very good friends. She was like a mother, a sister. Read one of my favorite poems of her work, A Begging for Survival. For those of us who live at the shoreline, standing upon the constant edges of decision, crucial and alone. For those of us who cannot indulge the passing dreams of choice, who love in doorways, coming and going in the hours between dawns, looking inward and outward at once, before and after, seeking a now that can breathe futures, like bread in our children's mouths, so their dreams would not reflect the death of ours. For those of us who were imprinted with fear, like a fake line in the center of our foreheads, learning to be afraid with our mother's milk, for by this weapon, this illusion of some safety to be found, the heavy foot hoped to silence us. For all of us, this instant and this triumph, we were never meant to survive. And when the sun rises, we are afraid it might not remain. When the sun sets, we are afraid it might not rise again in the morning. When our stomachs are full, we are afraid of indigestion. When our stomachs are empty, we are afraid we may never eat again. When we are loved, we are afraid love will vanish. When we are alone, we are afraid love will not return. And when we speak, we are afraid our words will not be heard nor welcome. But when we are silent, we are still afraid. So it is better to speak, remembering we were never meant to survive.
My name is Merle, and I'm a member of Radical Women and the Freedom Socialist Party, and I just wanted to announce, you probably have this pink flyer. Radical Women is doing a tribute to Audre on December the 15th at 7 p.m. at 523A Valencia, and if you have the pink flyer, there are 9 poets who will be reading. It's a multicultural event, and it's a benefit for us too, and I hope to see you there. This I wrote in April of 1991. Dear Audre, I'm feeling much better these days. As a matter of fact, this is the best I've felt since a year ago May when I was first diagnosed with breast cancer. I hope you are feeling good too. I'm remembering you with great fondness, for it was a year ago when we started communicating in earnest. That is, you communicating with me, calling me and giving me invaluable advice about breast cancer. Watch out for that despair, you said. Don't let it control you. Write it out, don't deny it. Eat good foods, no fat. Take lovely long walks in the morning. Rest a lot. And of course, you gave suggestions for alternative treatments. A self-defined socialist, you are one at heart too. You are always ready to impart all that you know about cancer to those who need it. I intend to carry on that tradition. You said you survived metastasized breast cancer this long because of your pure cussedness. Well, maybe. There's certainly that warrior toughness about you. But what really inspired me to work hard at getting better was your innate optimism that we can beat this thing. We agreed that it was a revolutionary act for us to stay alive in this hateful, hating society. Whereas lesbians of color, we are the most feared and despised. And isn't radical optimism what we all need to beat this capitalist system as well? The worst thing about despair is that you can't make any choices at all. Caught at the crossroads, immobilized by depression or cynicism. Socialists are by definition optimists. Sure, we can get depressed. A cellular depression is natural, you said. It's a physiological defense. But the body will spring back, you also said. I know that your revolutionary feminism has kept you going. Your indictment of America as being apartheid USA, your militant anti-war work where you live in the Virgin Islands, your Sisters in Support of South Africa work, you're bringing information about cancer to the sisters in the Caribbean, and of course, your writing. As a Black socialist feminist, you are an internationalist. I have felt kinship with you in many ways, because your perspective is broad, it is therefore global. Because your perspective is deep, your revolutionary outlook includes the most personal. I remember you writing, in Black society, the punishment for any female self-assertion is still to be accused of being a lesbian and therefore unworthy of the attention of support of the scarce Black male. But part of this need to misname and ignore Black lesbians comes from a very real fear that openly women-identified Black women who are no longer dependent upon men for their self-definition may well reorder our whole concept of social relationships. You said that. The Black woman's need to revolutionize social relationships, in other words, to rid her community of sexism and homophobia, to make her equal to Black men, is connected to her need to revolutionize all of society, in other words, to rid the world of all of it, of its capitalist exploitation, its misogyny, its racism, to make her equal to all others. And who but lesbians of color, having to face off all of these as part and parcel of the class struggle, will in the end have the potential to lead us all toward a society free of all discrimination. Now I and many others must add our names to the epidemic that is breast cancer. For so many of our brothers and sisters now too, it is AIDS. But by adding our names, we are building a movement. We know that the illness in our bodies is caused by the terminal illness of this decaying misogynist society, where we have a government that would bomb the hell out of Iraq before giving a moment's notice to women's health, especially poor women and women of color. Fighting for ourselves as individuals and as the majority of the world, our battle is a collective and inclusive one. For as you so aptly said, if the problems of Black women are derivatives of a larger contradiction between capital and labor, then so is racism, and both must be fought by all of us. The capitalist structure is a many-headed monster. Audre, I know that I am speaking for a great many radical activists, people of color and feminists and lesbians and gays, and all not mutually exclusive, of course, when I thank you for your fighting back spirit and words and wish you as full and productive future as your past, with our collective courage, love, and hope. Merle. Thank you.
Audre was my sister, and I was her sister. She's also a very dear friend of my other sister, Pat Parker. This is a song that I have dedicated to Pat. It's called Love. It's dedicated to Pat. Some of you know it. You can help me sing it too. Just the other day, me and a friend of mine was talking about truth and the love of humankind. My friend said to me how good it would be to just let each other be a whole lot more free. I said to my friend, well, that may come in time. There's just one thing that we all have to find. That's some truth in our own reality. When we find that, perhaps we let each other to be. love. You are my everything. You give me flowers in the spring, sweet songs to sing, and everything, everything. Love, love, you are my everything. You give me flowers in the spring, sweet songs to sing, and everything. Everything. So my friend and I, we've gone our own ways. Haven't seen her now in a couple of days. But somehow in my heart, I feel she's getting on. Somewhere inside her, she carries this song. I know sometimes our voices may get too weary to sing. Just with your hand, then I'll understand. But if you got the strength, but please sing along. Words are real easy if you listen to the song of love. You are my everything. Give me flowers in the spring, sweet song to sing, and everything, everything, and everything, everything. Come on, sing with me. Everything, everything, in everything, everything, in everything, everything. Give me water when I'm thirsty, and everything. Make me restful when I'm weary, and everything, everything. Give me sunshine when it's cloudy, everything. Make me peaceful when it's rowdy, everything, everything. Oh, you're everything. everything. You're everything, everything. Everything, everything.
I have two things I want to read. One is from Audre's Our Dead Behind Us. The poem's called Call. And then, you like that one? And then a piece that I've been trying to write for Audre. Audre and I knew each other in the early days of starting the kitchen table press together with Barbara Smith and Hattie Gossett. And when the idea for the press first started, it had came out of all these women, African American women, meeting together in Boston for this reading that happened in Boston, and Pat was there, and Audre and Judy Grant, a bunch of other people. And Audre had said to Barbara, you know, we need to do this ourselves now. And so the press started, and I had the great privilege of working with Audre and running around with her in New York for about 5 very important years in my life. So I thank her for that. I also thank that upon the news of her death, alliances that had been broken for many years were rekindled, reconnected, and so I felt that Audre was continuing to do her creative work and bringing us as women of color together and together and together again. So I give her that tribute and la doy mis gracias. No? Okay. Call. Holy Ghost woman, stolen out of your name, rainbow serpent, whose faces have been forgotten. Mother, loosen my tongue and adorn me with a lighter burden. Either way, though, is coming. On worn kitchen stools and tables, we are piercing our weapons together. Scraps of different histories, do not let us shatter any altar. She who scrubs the Capitol toilets, listening, is your sister's youngest daughter. Gnarled Harriet's anointed, you have not been without honor. Even the young guerrilla has chosen, yells as she fires into the thicket. Either way, though, is coming. I have written your names on my cheekbone, dreamed your eyes, flesh my epiphany. Most ancient goddesses, hear me, enter. I have not forgotten your worship, nor my sisters, nor the sons of my daughters. My children watch for your print in their labors, and they say, Adoedo is coming. I am a black woman turning, mouthing your name as a password through seductions, self-slaughter, and I believe in the Holy Ghost, Mother, in your flames beyond our vision, blown light through the fingers of women enduring, warring. Sometimes outside your name, we do not choose our rituals. Tandy Modisi, winged girl of Soweto, brought fire back home in the snout of a mortar and passes the word from her prison cell whispering, Adoedo is coming. Rainbow serpent who must not go unspoken. I have offered up the safety of separations, sung the spirals of power and what fills the spaces before power unfolds or flounders in desirable non-essentials. I am a black woman stripped down and praying. My whole life has been an altar worth its ending. And I say, Adoedo is coming. I may be a weed in the garden of women I have loved who are still trapped in their season. But even they shriek as they rip burning gold from their skins, Adoedo is coming. We are learning by heart what has never been taught. You are my given, fire-tongued, Oya, Cebolisa, Mau, Africati, and now we are mourning our sisters lost to the false hush of sorrow, to the hardness and hatchets and childbirth, and we are shouting Rosa Parks, Fannie Lou Hamer, Assata Shakur, Ya'an Satua, my mother and Winnie Mandela are singing in my throat. The Holy Ghost linguist, one iron silence broken. Adoedo is calling, calling. Your daughters are named and conceiving. Mother, loosen my tongue or adorn me with a lighter burden. Adoedo is coming. Adoedo is coming. Adoedo is coming. This piece, I'm trying to connect some things that are difficult for me to connect, but I know that they are connected. One of them has to do with La Llorona. Those of you don't know, she is the Mexican folklore figure, I guess you'd say, mythological figure called the Weeping Woman, who cries out in the night and carries these bundles. And the question is, what is she carrying? And in this poem, Audre also talks about these bundles that we have to carry. And this was based on a painting I saw by a woman named Celia Rodriguez, and I write it upon the death of Audre Lorde. The word bulto means bundle. Bulto, el bulto que cargas, doña Llorona, pesa mucho, ¿qué contiene? If flesh were made of watercolor, would we no longer bleed? Mujeres sin sangre, sin luna, sin nombre. Doña artista, hermana lésbica, ¿dónde encuentro tu nombre? Tatuado en el seno perdido, en el hueco de mi vientre. I take my bulto to bed with me, draw it into the hollowed gourd of my womb, knees meeting breasts, her hands buried there, are not the hands of a normal woman. Arthritic fingers in large red nippled knuckles, coarse. They are my lover's hands. They enter me two at a time, y no grito. I bear silently the pleasure of her intrusion, callous-tipped, massage membrane moist and forgetful. I don't remember her name like mine, crossbred. Perdí mi nombre. Mi bulto of swaddling clothes is a faceless child. She weighs nothing, todavía nada. 2. We invent ourselves. She tells me, I create whole biographies of the black childhood I never had. Give me enough time with you, I'll invent a Mexican one too. There was a time when I truly believed I could never live without black women in my life. And then I learned how to forget. And then Audre dies. And I remember that biography denied me. I dial the phone, Hear my name echoed back to me, familiar. A decade ago, black familia. I had a black family once, and what happened to that? Like my Mexican childhood, my Puerto Rican dreams, my white forgetfulness, what happened to all those women I laid and made history with? Maybe they are wrapped up in this bulto, this swaddling baby of Christ clothes. Maybe La Llorona is La Virgen Maria with the bulto named Chuy. Maybe my memories are our savior. Maybe I remember Audre. Remember Audre. Audre was our dark lesbianism. Audre advising me on the proper way to treat a woman, a black woman, butch to butch bedroom, closed door conversation. The woman outside the door seething, we two plotting bulldagger seduction to soften her up again. Audre was our dark womanhood wrapped around dark womanhood. Audre was the mango, absolutely ripe, sliced into even velvety orange, resting layer upon layer. We ate, our skin darkening, hers always gravitating to el viento caribeño, to a sun which only occasionally Staten Island could provide. This woman of mystery, like her, a woman of secrets you could read in the sensuality of licked fingers, of mango juice, in the knowledge of women. Tell me about women now, Audre, sister poet, teach me, don't stop teaching me.
My name is Yara Colette Lemke Paria. My name is Yvonne Kettles. It is an honor for me to be here tonight to celebrate the life and work of Audre Lorde. And I'm especially happy that this memorial is, among others, organized by Ashe. The first time I met Audre personally was years ago after one of her powerful speeches in Berlin, when we were seated opposite in a restaurant, sharing a big plate of fish, talking about yemanya and cowrie shells. It was then when she told me about Ashe and her dream of the coming together with its German sister journal Afrikater, the coming together of Black Americans and Germans. Her dream has not come true yet, but the start has been made. Otherwise, we all would not be here together tonight, celebrating Audre Lorde.
I recall the first time I met you about 5 years ago in Berlin at a breakfast gathering for sisters and brothers, so few. Back then, I wasn't able to speak to you because my English wasn't developed enough. I guess I was too shy. But we communicated anyways with our hands and feet, connecting as sisters, connecting. I wonder how many of you here in the US know what great influence Audre had on us German women, lesbians, and brothers. Did you know that there were strong connections between Audre and Germany? She was the light in all our eyes, rising like the sun, giving warmth and love, sharing her world, her experience, her knowledge, uncomparable, unforgettable, strong. Obituary for Audre Lorde from the Afro-German women. Audre Lorde, the great Black poet and feminist, is dead. Her death hit us hard, even though we knew about her health situation. It's difficult to describe in words what Audre meant for us Afro-German Black women, lesbians. It will mean way beyond her death. She was our sister, mother, companion in struggle, brought us on our way. With her inspiring power and love, she gave us faith and courage to move out of our isolation, to come together and fight against racism, sexism, and homophobia.
She led us towards our self-confidence, taught us to use our own experiences and skills to make change happen. Her engagement for Black women worldwide and her encouragement to write and then publish a book about ourselves, which turned out to be Farbe bekennen, showing our colors, should change our lives. Audre Lorde brought us Afro-German Black women, lesbians, and men together. She helped us to articulate our oppression so we could fight it. Audre believed in our growing power to create and unite change countrywide by formerly silent Afro-German women and men, young and old, to bring about international change within other Afro-Europeans, Afro-Asians, and Afro-Americans, all the people the world didn't hear much of. Her life's work is a bequest to us.
Some of us met Audre either on events or in private conversations. Her strong personality and voice gave us the power to demand our rights and dignity in this society. Her death is a great loss, but especially in these times of the rising of violent racism in Germany, she will give us courage and faith to move on. To honor Audre Lorde and her life's work, the Afro-German women in Munich will name their communication center after her autobiography, Sami.
Also, we want to acknowledge at this time her friend, companion and lover, Gloria Joseph, who was also very important within the Black German movement, and Audre's children, Beth and Jonathan. We want to thank them for their support, because they had to do a lot without Audre being involved with us. With all the things Audre left for us, we will continue fighting with all people who want to create a future together.
And we want to end with the words Audre gave us in her preface of Farbe bekennen, showing our colors. Women of minorities, companions in struggle, we are greeting you. Mai Ayin,
Katharina Ogunturi,
Ajoke Sobanjo,
Guy St. Louis,
Kim Everett,
Ina Röder,
Peggy,
Peppa Gabriel,
Abena Adomako,
Muna El Khavat,
Elisabeth Abraham,
Elke Young,
Eva von Pirch,
Ria Scherte,
Judy Gommich,
Jasmin,
Gabriela Wilbold,
Tina Kerndt,
Ika Hügel,
Helga Emde,
Marion Kraft,
Katja Kinder,
Saria Maharat,
Patricia Saat,
Nicola Laurea Samarai,
Farida,
Corinna,
Marian Gottbrat,
Sarah Schnier,
Nathalie Asfaha,
Yvonne Kettles.
Vera Colette Lemke, Munisto Faria.
Good evening, my name is Nellie Wong, and I want to thank Lisbet and Jean for organizing this event tonight to celebrate Audre's life. I didn't know Audre really closely, but I think of her as a sister. Today, I toured my hometown, Oakland Chinatown. A group of my comrades from the Freedom Socialist Party and Radical Women went to have dim sum, which means heart's delight. And we ate about $60 worth. And I know you know what they are. They're dumplings filled with meat, and there's custard tarts, and there's shrimp balls, there are a lot of fatty foods and good stuff. And when I think of it, the reason why I want to mention it is that I got a little dim sum on my white shirt. It's right here. And so I thought, well, maybe I could remember Audre that way because of the food that she fed us through her poetry, through her revolutionary politics, and how she helped us all to change and grow, to develop and fight back, and that she stood clearly as a socialist, and she knew that capitalism was a system that was wrong for not only this country, but all over the world.
And the food that she has fed us, I feel like we need to eat it and chew it and spit it out and share it with all the world, because we're the ones capable of making change. I'd like to celebrate Audre's life with a poem called Escape is No Longer My Middle Name. It appeared in an issue of The Left Guardian about a year and a half ago, and this is for Audre, for all the women, the sisters and brothers that we've lost through the cancer or other ill health, and what we must do in order to eradicate those conditions so that we all will live and live well. Escape is no longer my middle name. If I could escape the news, not the headlines of the Chronicle or the San Francisco Weekly, I would fly to the bowels of the earth and find gold, good health, glistening up through rivers and mountain tops. Shangri-La doesn't exist. No, I can't escape or plan it. The war against the Iraqi people, the war against the Palestinians living on the West Bank and the Gaza Strip. I could lose my body in exercise, let my legs gallop a wild horse, its mane caught in the arms of the warrior wind. A void crosses my body, the blood whitens, detonates the bones and muscles, the veins rippling across the landscape of skin, desiring sex. Escape was my middle name. Films of Doris Day and Rock Hudson plowed through this mind, contaminating the blood. When celluloid became reality, I hurt and the tears rise from my body of truth. A body turning light from a dark room. The invader is cancer, crowding Merle's breast. The bone scan shows no ugliness, but the skin shines. The chances for fighting back flash through the spring sky. Chinese New Year approaches. The ram, a mighty symbol, enters the earth on Friday, February 15th. And the feast will spread with white-cut chicken, the monk's dish, spicy Szechuan beef. While the Iraqi people grieve thousands upon thousands dead, and the bobbling of my mind steps forward and back and forward again, to see clearly and feel the truth, to acknowledge pain and cancel nothing. My legs stand tall, legs are warriors too that carry the truth of a passing train. Unfairness falls down, a tyrant in disguise. It selects indiscriminately regardless of race, sex, or class. It couples with cancer and makes a seemingly indestructible pair. But it can be helped that Karen died of breast cancer, that Leslie died of lung cancer, that Ma died of stomach cancer, that Terry killed herself because she made a mistake at her job, that no one was able to help her find the gold of good health. Calling for a young woman's self-destruction with despair, like capitalism, will die in convulsing death, to make way for the rainforests, the children in the inner city ghettos, the Black Latinos and poor whites imprisoned in our country's jails, the homeless sleeping on the streets to rise and say no more to the conditions that strangle our bodies and our minds, that we will rise to fight back and claim our rights, that we will rise a people who cherish earth, that food, not bombs, will reach the poor, and the survivors, the fighters, will gather upon the town squares, distribute food to all the people working the earth toward the gold of good health. Thank you.
bought in chains, served the man.
I am the slave that chose to die. I jumped overboard and no one cried.
I am the slave sold as stock, walked to and fro on the auction block.
They can be taught if you show them how. They're strong as bulls and smarter than cows.
I worked in the kitchen, cooked ham and grits, seasoned all dishes with a teaspoon of spit.
I worked in the fields, picked plenty of cotton, prayed every night for the crop to be rotten.
All slaves were treacherous. That's a fact, that's true. But those who were more than a few.
Movement in black, movement in black, can't keep them back, movement in black.
I am the black woman, and I have been all over. When the colonists fought the British, I was there. I hated the colonists. I hated the British. I carried notes, stole secrets, guided the men, and nobody thought to bother me. I was just a black woman. Well, the Britishers lost, and I lost. But I was there, and I kept on moving.
I'm the black woman, and I've been all over. I went out west. Yeah, the black soldiers went with me too. And I settled the land, and raised crops and children. But that wasn't all. I hauled freight, carried mail, drank plenty of whiskey, shot a few men too. Books don't say much about what I did, but I was there, and I kept on moving.
I am the black woman, and I have been all over. I'm on platforms and stages, and I'm talking about freedom. Freedom for black women. Freedom for all women, and freedom for black folks. In the Civil War, too, I was carrying messages, bandaging bodies, spying and lying. The South lost, and I lost. But I was there, and I kept on moving.
I am the black woman, and I have been all over. I was on the bus with Rosa Parks and in the streets with Martin King. I was marching and singing and crying and praying. I was with Snick and I was with Core. I was in Watts when the streets were burning. I was a Panther in Oakland, in New York with Now, in San Francisco with Gay Liberation, in D.C. with Radical Dykes. Yes, I was there and I'm still moving.
Movement in black, movement in black, can't keep them back, movement in black.
I am the black woman. I am Bessie Smith singing the blues. And all the Bessies that never sang a note.
I am the southerner that went north. I'm the northerner that came on back home.
I'm the teacher of all black schools. I'm the graduate of cannot read.
I'm the social worker. City ghetto. I'm the car hop. Built the town.
I'm the junkie with the Jones. I'm the dyke in the bar. I'm the matron at county jail. I'm the defendant with nothing to say.
I am the woman with 8 kids. I'm the woman who didn't have any. I'm the woman who tore at sin. I'm the woman who got plenty.
I'm the woman who raised white babies and taught my kids to raise themselves.
Movement in black, movement in black, can't keep them back, movement in black.
Roll call. Shout him out. Phyllis Wheatley.
Sojourner Truth.
Harriet Tubman.
Francis Ellen Watkins Harper. Stagecoach Mary.
Lucy Craig.
Mary Pleasant.
Mary McLeod Bethune.
Rosa Parks. Loretta King.
Fannie Lou Hamer.
Marian Anderson.
And Billings.
And Bessie. Sweet Dinah.
Natalie.
Shirley Chisholm.
Margaret Jordan.
June Jordan, and Mona Lewis.
Audre Lorde.
And all the names we forgot to say, and all the names we didn't know, and all the names we don't know yet. Movement in black, movement in black.
To burn the world.
I'm the water that quenches throat. I'm the product of slaves.
I am the offspring of queens. I am still silent. I flow as a stream. I am the black woman.
I am the black woman. I am a survivor.
I am a survivor.
I am a survivor.
I am a survivor.
Movement in black. Right now, and we'd like you to sing along with us on an African American spiritual. It goes like this. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm This is virtual.
I found my freedom. On Blueberry Hill, where I found you. The moon stood still on Blueberry Hill, on Blueberry Hill, where I met you. When in the willow way, a sweet melody, but all of us we made, oh yes, was never to be. Ain't we glad? Oh, we're apart, so are we still. Oh, you are here. On Blueberry Hill. Oh, when in the willow way, a sweet melody. But all of those songs we made were never to be. Oh, we're you love me still. Oh, you are my friend. On Blueberry Hill.
About a year ago, it was reported that Audre had died. And she was in Germany at the time, and she gave me a call. And she asked me had I heard it. I said, no, I hadn't heard it. She's really upset. And we had a really long talk about it, and then she said something that I really want to share with you tonight. She said, you know what I want you to do? I want you to tell them to tell the truth about me. She said, the truth never hurt anybody, alive or dead. She says, but honey, don't let them lie on me. and don't bury me before I'm dead. It's been really interesting this last couple of weeks because there's not a particle in me that can bury her. Instead, what I'm doing is internalizing her legacy to me personally, and I really pray that you do the same, whatever that is for you. I also know that she did a lot with what she had, and that part of her, I feel, remains with me personally and all of us in general. And that there is a place of rest that we do go to. So to the first, I'll read Stations, and to the last, I'll sing a closing song. Except I need my glasses, hold on. It's called Being Past 40. Stations. Some women love to wait for life, for a ring in the June light, for a touch of the sun to heal them, for another woman's voice to make them whole, to untie their hands, put words in their mouths, form to their passages, sounds to their screams, for some other sleeper to remember their future, their past. Some women wait for the right train in the wrong station, in the alleys of morning for the noon to holler, the night to come down. Some women wait for love to rise up, the child of their promise to gather from earth what they do not plant, to claim pain for labor, to become the tip of an arrow, to aim at the heart of now, but it never stays. Some women wait for visions that do not return, where they were not welcomed naked, for invitations to places they always wanted to visit to be repeated. Some women wait for themselves around the next corner and call the empty spot peace. But the opposite of living is only not living, and the stars do not care. Some women wait for something to change, and nothing does change, so they change themselves. And for the part of us, for the part of me, let me speak for myself, please. For the part of me that is so glad that she is no longer in pain. For the part of me that welcomes the darkness and the rest we're all so afraid of. I want to sing this song. I wrote it at the sea, so imagine yourself at the sea. Audre, my dear, go home into the sea. Those who made you are calling out for you. Go home, Audre, my go home into the trees. Your mothers and fathers are drumming out for you. Go home, Audre, my dear. Audre, my dear. Go home into the waving grassy seas. Your sisters and brothers are coming after you. Go home, Audre, my dear. Audre, my dear. Go home into the river valleys. Your daughters, your sons require a place as well. Go home, Audre, my dear. Audre, my dear. Oh yeah, go home into this foaming, crashing sea. I'll always remember and sweetly let you go. Go home, Audre, my dear. I'll always, always remember and sweetly let you go. Go home, Audre, my dear.
I'd like to thank you all for coming. Before I bring everybody out, also, there will be another tribute to Audre on Tuesday, December 15th. There'll be flyers at the door. I'd like everybody to come up here and take a look at this beautiful altar that was put together by Toby Corial and Spring Houghton. And I'd like to bring everybody in the back room. Everybody up. Yeah.
That's alright, that's alright, that's alright, that's alright. We'll kingdom. That's all right. My mother, while you're walking along, your feet may slip and your soul may lose. Well, my soul got a seat in the kingdom. That's all right. That's all right. That's all right. That's all right. It'll be all right. Long as my soul got a seat in the kingdom. That's all right. Just little baby, don't you cry. You know your mother was born to die. Said my soul got a seat in the kingdom. That's all right. Everybody sing, that's all right. That's all right. That's all right. It'll be all right. Sing my soul got a seat. That's all right. Say that's all right. That's all right. That's all right. That's all right. Long as my soul got a seat in the kingdom. That's all right. That's all
We all want to say good night to you. Thank you for coming to the celebration of spirit for Audre Lorde. Thank you.
I would also like to thank Haley, who has been doing the sound in the back room all night. Haley, can you come out?